Now in today's video, we're taking a look at the brand new WeCreat Lumos. This is one of the most flexible lasers that you're going to be able to purchase on the market. It's portable. It also has two laser source types, which means you're going to be able to engrave on a variety of materials. In addition to that, with a $50 deposit, you'll be able to unlock up to $2,000 worth of savings. So there's no better time to buy than right now if you're considering to get into laser engraving, and you'll be able to engrave on a whole bunch of materials. In today's video, I'm going to share with you my experience. I'm going to share with you projects that I've engraved, and I'm going to give you all of my settings so that if you do pick up the laser, you'll be able to start engraving immediately and promoting your business. So let's get right to it. Before getting into the laser, I wanted to share with you some of the projects that I engraved and that you'll find all the settings for in this video. And this is going to give you a sense of the type of flexibility that you're going to have with this laser. Now, a couple things that I set up with this laser is I set up a jig system that's going to make it really easy and repeatable to be able to get all my engravings done precisely and also have it repeatable. One of the things that sets this laser apart, in my opinion, is the fact that it has one of the most accurate cameras that I've seen on the market. So this little guy that you're going to see in a couple seconds actually has a camera that allows you to align your graphics on the items, and it's super accurate. I just want to show you this thing right here. So these are bottle stoppers. You can use these for wine. You can use these for a variety of different type of, let's say, liquors. And these I basically engraved using the Lumos. And the alignment on this was absolutely spot on. What you see is how I saw it on the screen, and that's how I engraved. So this is one of the things that will set this apart. And this is a project that you'll see all of my settings when we go into this in detail. So there's a variety of materials that you can work with, not only wood, plastic, you could do slate, you could work on pens and pencils, you can work on metal. So all of these projects are things that we were able to engrave with the Lumos. So what we'll do in this video is we'll go over the Lumos. We're going to see all of the features and the capabilities because this really is a great laser for those of you who are looking to get into laser engraving. And then I want to show you some of the projects that I went through. Let's take a look at the laser first. As we go through the features of the WeCreat Lumos, I'm going to share with you some of the quality of life features that I found that make me really excited about this laser. Things that I wish other lasers have, and this one has right out of the box. First of all, this is a 10-watt diode with a 3-watt IR laser. And what that means is that you're going to be able to not only engrave wood, you'll be able to engrave metal. So that's going to give you a lot of flexibility. Now, the dot size is also pretty spectacular. And the dot size basically defines the quality of the actual engrave. Smaller the dot size, the more defined the actual engrave will be. So this is a dot size, so check this out, 0.00199. That is really small, which means that your engraves are going to be fine. There's going to be a lot of detail behind them. And you're going to see some of the samples that I've done, how nice those engraves look. As we mentioned, this is going to be able to not just work on wood, but it's also going to be able to work on metal. And it's also going to be able to engrave in color. So for those of you who are looking for color engraving, you'll be able to do it with this. Me personally, color engraving takes too much time for my business, so I choose not to do a lot of color. The only color I'll do is probably black and maybe white when it comes to metal engraving because they're the kind of somewhat of the fastest, even though black at times can be a little bit slower. Now, one of the things I love about this solution, I'm just going to show you, there's two things right here. First of all, it has a light. And I know I probably shouldn't be as excited about something like this, but I have had other lasers that don't have a light that is this bright, that kind of shows you exactly what you're working on. I've had to actually jerry-rig some form of light system in order to be able to see what's going inside of the laser. The other thing it has is an HD camera. And this camera is fast and it's also significantly accurate. And I have to tell you, while I've had this laser now for several weeks, while I'm probably not going to call this a review because I still have beta software, I have still beta firmware. So this is like a first impression video. But my first impressions is that this is a very, very solid product, right? With all the capabilities. Now, it does have also a dual focus system, which makes it really fast and easy to focus things. You push a button and it does it. It is really, really fast. I don't have it here, but it's on the way, is that they have a slide extension mode, which is going to give you a workable area of 520 by 116 millimeters. And you're going to be able to just, again, work with great space, right? When it comes to the things that you'll be able to engrave. Now, also, it does have a rotary, and the rotary is also can work with that extension device as well, which I really like also. Now, when we talked about materials, we spoke about metal, wood, but also you could do acrylic, you could do leather, and you can do slates. But before we go into all those materials and we check those out, let's take a closer look at the laser so you can see everything that I'm excited about. Now, looking at the laser, there's a couple things here that I just want to highlight. First of all, at the very top of the button, or the top here by the actual handle, you have a button. This little button is what you'll press when you want to engrave. The actual software is going to tell you, once you send the job to the laser, press the button in order to kick it off. As you open up the shield, and this is a protective shield, which is going to be great for those of you who are taking this to a marketplace, because you'll be able to engrave in an open area, and you'll be able to track clients as they're watching the laser engrave and not worry about any kind of harm coming from the laser, because this is a protective shield. Also, when it's engraving and there's smoke, the shield itself will keep the smoke inside of the laser, and you'll be able to extract that with an air purifier, which, by the way, they have one as well. I just don't have that yet. As I open this up, very, very generous lighting area, which makes it really easy to see your engraves. And then you also get 2 trays that you can work with. This is going to be what you would refer to as your cutting tray. So if you're working with wood and you want to cut some wood out, this is what you would use. And then what you also then have here is another tray. And this tray right here is probably going to be the one that you use the most as you're working with different type products, right? So this is your positioning bar, and then you'll be able to work with all these holes that you have right here. But you can think about this as your maximum engraving area for this laser. Now I'm going to close the top for a second. And I don't know if you noticed this, but the fact that there's a hole here means that if you have to work with a product that is taller, you could literally raise this and engrave through this point here. So I've done this with some of my other lasers where they have a hole like this. So this really extends things. So you're not limited to the space you have here, but you could also lift it and then engrave. Matter of fact, this entire system is detachable. I can remove this part right here out of the laser, and it becomes a handheld laser as well, which I think is pretty unique, and also something that is very thoughtful in the design. Now, on the side here, there's a couple things going on. So first of all, what you have is, this is your dial. And the dial basically raises and lowers your laser when it comes to focusing. And the focusing you'll see is by these dots that you have here. So you notice that there's 2 dots right here. You actually have a blue and a red. If I lower this, that basically brings it in focus. Now, one of the things I found, and this is something that's kind of the geek side of me, is that the actual stepper motors, or the mechanism in which raises and lowers this laser, is very quiet and very smooth. It's quality, right? So check this out. Faster. How you can do that. And if I want to autofocus, or if I want to just focus, all I do is I press this button, and then what this button will do is, when it's connected to the software, it's going to focus for me. So that's your little focus button right here. You have over here on the very bottom, you have your actual connectors for your rotary and your extension and different accessories. And these plugs they seem to be industry standard. So when I deal with my larger lasers, which I would call my industrial lasers, these are the type of plugs that I have. And not USB-C, but actually these type of laser plugs, you find them on the more industrial sized lasers. I haven't confirmed this yet, but I'm wondering if some of those accessories would work with this, given the fact that it has these kind of connections. I don't know yet, but I'm very familiar with these. So when you see these and you wonder, like, wow, that looks really old, it's actually not old, it's actually new. This is what the other lasers use. So I found that to be a very interesting choice. Now, on the back of the laser, you do have a USB port. For those of you who need to connect it to a laptop, you have your exhaust port as well. And I have this connected to an air purifier, and they do have an air purifier that will be available shortly with the actual Kickstarter as an option. Notice that you have the power cord right here, and pretty much that's all there is to the laser. Now, to make my process of engraving simple and easy, one of the things that I developed for the WeCreat Lumos is a jig system. And I just want to show you what we did to make things super easy and convenient for you all. This little tray right here goes into your laser and basically allows you, if you're going to be working with dog tags, to work with dog tags and engrave your dog tags. As simple as that. And I'm going to show you the quality of that in a couple seconds. If I want to be able to work, let's say, with military dog tags, right? I have slide my jig and I'm able to use and engrave my dog tags. That's simple. And the point here is that if I want to engrave, let's say 50 or 100 of these, I have a way to do this very easily because I have this jig. I also, if I want to work with pencils, right? Now what I'm able to do is I'm able to engrave on all these pencils. And if I have to engrave 50 or 100 pencils, all I have to do is swap them out and get them all engraved really easily just by using the software and the alignment technology that it has. So this makes it really, really convenient to engrave on something like this. You also saw me, as we were doing the intro, using bottle openers. So if I need to do bottle openers for a wedding, it's this easy. All I have to do is replace the bottle openers, push the button, and engrave them over and over again. And you notice that I can focus on these as well. So if I want to focus on this, I'll go back to this dial, bring it up to where it's in focus. Now it's ready to go, and I can engrave. And the overall quality is pretty spectacular. So again, this jig system also works with the rotary. So I have a rotary attachment as well that's going to make it really easy to get things going with the laser. So let's focus on the actual quality of what we were able to engrave. First of all, let me start with acrylic. So we ran some acrylic on the laser, and you can see what we have going on here. Let me see if that's in focus. So this is a piece of acrylic, black acrylic, and we ran the laser image on this. Now, keep in mind that I'm using still what I would consider beta software, and I would expect that this is going to get a little bit better. I'm going to put it under here on the light so that you can see what this looks like, because it was a little dark. We'll zoom in right here so you can see this is a really, really nice. This could be an ornament. This could be a wedding piece. This could be a coaster, and you can see how sharp that looks under that light. And this was done with the IR laser, and you'll see the settings on screen in order to be able to engrave something like this. Now, the other thing that we did was metal dog tags. And again, this is literally the laser, right? So here you can see the overall quality that we got from the dog tags, and this just took seconds to make. I love how white this came out. So these are aluminum dog tags that have a black paint on top of them. And you can engrave these further down and get to like metal. But in this case, I was able to get this really nice white that makes them pop. Let me get them a little bit closer up here so you can see that. Look how beautiful that is. Really, really nice. And these were some Father's Day dog tags that I ran on this. And you'll see the settings for these dog tags on screen as well. We then did actual dog tags, not military dog tags, but actually for puppies. And these were all done also on the Lumos laser from WeCreat. Check that out. This just took seconds to make, and it was super accurate. And this is something repeatable, especially if you're going to be doing some large projects. We also then worked on stainless steel. And I just wanted to show you what I was able to get with stainless steel. So this is, I'll put it at an angle so you can see I did get a darker color here, almost a black. And then you can see what I got right here for kind of like a Father's Day type commemorable, again, metal. Now this could be, if I was, let's say like a bottle opener or a beer opener, this could be something that I could have as well. And you can see, again, how nicely that came out and the actual detail. We also then engraved a cooler. So this is leather, and this happens to be from JDS. So this is a JDS can sleeve to keep your beverages cool. And this is also something that slides into this jig system that we created. So if I put this in here, slide this into place, I can engrave dozens and dozens of these if I needed to for any kind of project or order that took place, right? So I'll go ahead and take this out. And this, again, basically is a leather piece that has silver underneath. And as you're engraving, it removes the black and then just leaves the silver like this. Pretty spectacular, great quality. And aligning this was a breeze, right? And you have my settings for this as well. Now, engraving slates is another option. So I just wanted to show you what my slates look like right here. I did this also on the laser. It did a really nice job. I'm still working on trying to get a white. I'd like to get this a little bit whiter because this is a little bit gray. I like getting white on my my slate coasters. This has no prep, no paint. It's just straight on the laser. And you can see, again, what the quality looks like right there. We also did metal business cards. And this is an interesting business. You can actually do a lot of work on these. There's a lot of people who will pay to get these metal cards. They're very thin and they're very fast to engrave. And this is something, again, that we did on the machine. And the settings were super easy. The actual software is very convenient and easy to use when it comes to engraving and creating works like this. Oh, and here's more wood. So here's some more wood projects that we did. Keychains, super fast, super convenient. And again, something that you can repeat really easily with just using this jig system. So here I have my dog tags. So here I have my key. So here I have my keychains, and all the keychains are here ready. And this, again, I was testing different intensities. So you notice that this was a little bit lighter, this is a little bit darker. I'm still doing some testing to just get the right settings. And once I do these, I'll save them in the software. So the next time I have to run a job like this, I'll be able to have my settings right there and ready for the next job. Now, the other thing I wanted to test is if I could engrave, again, something like this. This is actually PLA, and you can see that right there. I'm still working on my settings to get the best settings there, but I was able to get a white for it, and this is something that you could do easily as well. Now, one of the accessories that we just recently received, like literally just a day ago, is this solution right here. So this is the auto slider. The auto slider is going to allow you to engrave 39 pencils all at once. So created a special jig that's going to allow you to have all these engraved in one batch, which I think is pretty spectacular. You'll notice here at the very bottom, and we'll tilt down just a little bit, I have another jig, and this jig right here is for wedding bottle openers. I call them wedding bottle openers, but just bottle openers. And these wood bottle openers, you see them at graduations, you see them at weddings, birthdays where people engrave special sayings here. And again, here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 at once that will be engraved on the conveyor. So this actually expands with this auto slider. It expands all your engraving. And I just want to show you how it works. So I'm going to go ahead and frame, and you're going to notice that it could go from one point to the extreme other side. So it's going to frame all the way over there. I'm going to hit the framing button, and you'll notice how it moved. And now what it's going to do is it's going to outline the area right there that it's actually going to be framing. We're going to go ahead and do that one more time, and I'm going to tilt up just a little bit. And I'm probably going to tighten in this a little bit more so you can see that. So we're going to hit the frame one more time, and you're going to see how this is going to work again. It moves all the way over. And you can see that dot going around. It's showing what the area that's going to be engraved. And I can also then test out, and I'm going to show on the opposite side, which is going to be two, massive extremes per se, right? Because you're going from one side to the other. I'm going to go ahead and enable the very first pencil that I want engraved. And by doing that, I'll be able to frame it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the frame button. And now it's going to come all the way over here. And it's going to do the frame on that button right there. So you can see, or actual pencil, it's going to be able to do all of these. Now, using the auto slider is pretty cool, and it's really simple. I just wanted to show you where this is at. Now, keep in mind that this is still a preview. I'm expecting that the software is going to be updated and changed somewhat, but I just wanted to give you a sense of how things are working here. So one of the things I've noticed is that when you do the camera refresh, and I'm going to go ahead and hit it again, is that the only thing that you're getting is the very first one. I expect that it should basically go to each one of the sections and do a full map of the actual items that are on the bed. But right now, it's only showing a small section of it, and you can see that's the first thing that shows up on the screen. Now, as we've seen throughout our experience with it, the camera is pretty accurate. We've been getting engraves to be exactly where we want them to be. Maybe there's been occasions where they've been off, but I would attest that or maybe attribute that rather to the fact that I'm still getting some beta software updates. When you hit start, you're going to be able to see all of the pens that you're going to be engraving, or in this case, pencils that you're going to be engraving. So we're going to go ahead and have them all engraved. I've run a couple of tests on the pencils, so you'll notice that my pencils have like marks on all different sides. I just really wanted to get this down. But once you have this locked in place, then pretty much what you're doing is just replacing the pencils and then just going over and over and over again. If you save the file, it's also going to be easier the next time around. So what we're going to do is going to lower the shield. Right, so you'll want to lower that. I do have my glasses that I have on the side. I'm going to bring it down slightly. Make sure it doesn't touch. And then I'm going to hit send. And what we'll see is the actual jig will keep everything in place, which is what we want. And then I'm going to press the button on the top to just start the engraving process of all these pencils. This is going to be a great option for those of you who are supporting the school system, if you have children going to school, or if you're wanting to sell pencils during the school season, which is also a really popular business. So I'm going to go ahead and hit start. And then we're going to see everything will start up. I do have my air extractor on, and you can see how it's engraving the very first one. And then once it's done with this one, it's going to go on to the next, and it's going to do all of the pencils pretty quickly. I have a speed here of 220. power of 100, and I have a line density of 300. And I've been happy so far with the kind of engraved that I've been getting at that level. And you can see how it's coming out pretty dark right there. And I just have EBPMAN Tech Reviews showing up there. Yep. And it'll go on to the next and then just continue. So we'll run a couple of these just so you can see how the actual auto slider works. You saw how it moved to the next position. And you know, the design of the jigs really helps make sure that they're in the same spot every single time. And also helps me with how the actual pens themselves are facing the right way up. In this case, the pencils are facing upwards. So you can see how, again, pretty accurate, and really happy overall with this process. Now, some type of extractor is going to be important because as you start burning a lot of pencils, it does start smelling. I do have an air purifier connected that's going to help with any kind of smoke that's coming from the burning of the wood. Now you have several adjustment options here that you can work with. These bars themselves move from side to side, which give you the ability, if you're working with smaller objects that you want to lock in, you can lock in. And what I like also about this is that if you had an object that you wanted to, let's say, lock down, you can lift it up slightly, bring it down, and it actually will have some springs that pulls down here really nicely. So that's a really good option that it has this. So if you're working with a, let's say, a longer piece of wood, longer piece of acrylic that you want to work with, you can do that. And again, these move from each side to each side, and you can straighten them out pretty easily because you do have, again, on the top and on the bottom, some rulers that you'd be able to guide with. Then once you have it pretty much straight or square, all you would do is you would tighten the sides right here. There's two knobs that you can tighten, and then that's going to make sure that that stays nice and square. So I really like that you have that flexibility on both sides. You'll notice that these grooves too, these channels are really designed so that if you're going to be cutting material, you could use these to cut. I'm kind of hesitant on cutting because I really like how nice this looks, but it has the fins, which indicate that this is a cuttable surface. So if you wanted to cut something out that was longer, let's say, for example, a wine bottle kind of cutout, you would be able to do that, or any other kind of cutout for a sign, you'd be able to work this area as well. Now it does have another square over here, and I'm going to just move this over so you can see it. So this square over here is pretty straight, right, in a line. And this is, again, going to give you the ability to, again, align top and bottom. I like the fact that there's everywhere there seems to be something that's going to help you with measurement. The only area I wish they would have done something similar to was this right here. This would have been nice if they had this same measurement right here, but I can see, you know, that being missed or not being included, but I really like that. Now, the other thing you'll notice is down here, how this is connected is a little bit different, right? So you're going to be able to, you need to connect, one piece goes to the actual base plate, one piece goes to the actual bed, to the physical bed, and then basically that's going to be locked in. It's not going to come out. The reason why you want to do that is because there is in the back here some mounting that takes place. Now this is another area that I think that there could have been an opportunity for improvement, because these holes that are right here align with this right here, and then the one that you saw over here. This is difficult to put in, right? When you're aligning this, I cringe because I feel the scratching taking place, and you can see the scuffing that took place right here. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and move this over, and I'm going to show you what's involved. So this arrow indicates that that guy's supposed to go there, and you're going to see I've done this numerous times now, and I don't have this yet down. So I'm going to go ahead and you can hear that scratching. I'm like, oh my god. So what I'll do is I'll put my finger so I can guide it more or less. Come on. You can see what I'm talking about already. I got that other side in. Now I gotta focus on this side. Anyways, you get my point. Getting that alignment in is a little troublesome at first, but once you have it in place, you have it in place. Now, another piece of hardware that came in, and we started testing it, but I wasn't able to include it in the video just because there's so much that I needed to do, and I really wanted to make sure I was getting this going, is the rotary. And this rotary, again, the way this is gonna fit is you're going to have to take these off, these screws that you have here, and you're going to be guiding it right here, right? So you're going to place it in here, and then you're going to screw them down and hold it in place. I think I'll make something that will help guide this. They'll make it a lot easier, and maybe something that will not require any screws, so that you could just put it in, slide it in, and then it's also something that you can move this way and this way. But here, basically, this is going to go in place. You'll notice that it's using that same connector, and in the back it does say rotary, and you'll be able to move this however you'd like to do it. Now, this does have a lot of flexibility. Now, you'll notice here I can actually put it vertical like this. And I don't know why that's there. I'm assuming because you can connect this to this guy right here, and it will slide back and forth. Like, for example, you'll see in the videos where they have actually a baseball bat that they're engraving. I don't know how often you do that. Or maybe if you're working with a bottle and you want to engrave the bottle, the full bottle length. And so this is going to actually travel with this bed. So there's a lot of options that you have here. But again, you do have a lot of flexibility when it comes up and down. It does have a built-in, so this grip right here, like this grip is if you want to clamp on something, right? But if you're going to put this in certain type of Yetis, this has enough grip force because it opens up, and this is rubberized, to lock into a lot of things. This is something extra that you can use, and it comes with a little measuring tape, it comes with a bubble, it comes with everything that you need in order to adjust things and lock things in place. It's a great little rotary, and once again, using standard connector. So guys, that wraps up our review. See you in the next video.